So, hello, Dr. Fulgaro, and welcome to World Peace Channel 1.
Thank you so much. I'm so happy to be here. Thank you for having me.
We're very glad to have you, and you're doing some exciting work. Could you tell us a little bit about yourself and your work?
I really have focused in on soul care from a lot of different angles, which concerns just helping people improve their spiritual, emotional, and financial well-being. So kind of the whole gamut, always with a focus on creating resources with God, which will help people connect with God, and through connection with God, then have that flow down to the other aspects of their life. My background is actually in personal finance. I have 40 plus years as a finance professional, but my calling, if we'll say it that way, is to really be focused on the spirituality. And so I create song prayers, which are songs that are prayers for people to use to connect with God and find peace and more. And then I write books and devotions and have podcasts.
Wonderful. So, you are Dr. Fulgaro, so could you tell us about your doctorate?
Absolutely. I have a Doctor of Ministry degree, and I pursued that course specifically so I could study academically with rigor what happens when people listen on a regular basis to song prayers, because I was noticing that people were changing.
That's fascinating. So, what are song prayers?
I think most people would call them worship songs. In other words, they're songs where the verbiage, the lyrics are aimed at God. You're talking to God with the lyrics. You're praying to God with those lyrics. I coined the term song prayer because for those not familiar with the worship song genre, they needed to know what these were. Well, they're songs that are prayers. And if you go back historically, it's not just contemporary worship music, which has this peace imbuing effect when God kind of visits with you. It's hymns, it's the Psalms back in the biblical times. So we needed an overriding term to cover all of those things.
I see. So that title is very, very descriptive. And I see it looks like you're in a recording studio. Could you tell me about that?
This is a recording studio where I've worked with my producer for 18 years to create the song prayers. I initiate a lot of the melodies, and all the lyrics, and then my producer here in this room and in the recording portion does the arranging. He also drives many of the melody lines, and then I come in here and do my vocals and my backgrounds, and all the instrumentation gets added. I'm not the instrumentalist on these, it's added by other musicians, but here's where they're created. And if you go to my YouTube channel, there's over 200 song prayers there. So you can kind of get a flavor for what we're creating. And
Hmm.
I happen to have to be here this morning, so it seemed a good spot to meet with you.
Yes, right in the thick of your work and your ministry. So, could you tell us about your research on the song prayers and what you found?
Oh, I'd absolutely love to. I had been noticing, like I said, people around me being transformed. They were feeling better. Their focus was more positive. Basically, their emotional well-being was improving. They were more resilient. Their relationship with God was getting closer when they listened regularly to the albums, because I have over 20, and each one with a different theme. So the academic study was to have, I serve, one of the primary groups I serve are the veteran and military communities. So the study was a qualitative with 4 women veterans, different ages, different branches of service. And I had them listen to a playlist of song prayers for 20 minutes a day minimum for at least 28 consecutive days, and to keep track of their emotional well-being, to rate their emotional well-being on a scale of 1 to 10 before they listened for the day, and then after they listened for the day, and then keep notes on what was impactful, not impactful, just things that dropped into their mind that mattered. And I did an interview with them before and after, where they were both times. And through the data that came out of this, all of the women had profound improvement in their day-to-day lives through things that God did uniquely for them. 3 of the 4 women God opened up and showed them issues that they were dealing with that they didn't even know they had, and
Mm-hmm.
gave them antidotes, answers that lifted them out of those places where they were emotionally. And with the fourth one, she noticed profound differences in her anxiety and her depression. And she said that when where there were many days, you'd never know it. You know how this works, right? In mental health, this is a brilliant, bright, caring, lots of volunteerism female veteran, right? A leader. And yet she would have many days when she struggled to get out of bed from anxiety and depression. And so what she found with the song prayers is she'd be lying there and she'd say, I can break it down into pieces. I don't have to be overwhelmed. And she could get up and do. So there were just really wonderful outcomes. And so I published my research in a book called Soul Care Song Prayers, a spiritual practice toward resilience and well-being. It's on Amazon. And I'm working to try to make the practice, the spiritual practice of listening, more well known so others can choose whether they want to adopt it.
That's wonderful. And I'll be looking forward to reading that. What is the name of your YouTube channel?
It is Elizabeth Fulgaro. So it's right there under my name.
Okay, that's easy to find then.
That was the goal.
Yeah, definitely a naming a YouTube channel. So I also understand that you're a pageant title holder. Could you tell us about that?
Yes, I was recently named Dr. California, USA 2024. And I'm very excited to be part of this organization where the women like you, I'm getting to know women who are just really working to make a difference in the world.
Yes, congratulations on your title and being in the Dr. USA pageant. That's so exciting. This is your first pageant?
It is. It's a brand new world. We want to keep growing. And one of my other messages, and it pertains really to emotional health. I was one of the first ones healed through listening to the song prayers as I developed them. And I had called out to God for help of why I didn't have joy. I had peace, I had no joy. And over a series of years, God led me on a path of uncovering for me that I had deep seated self loathing and self hatred. And then He led me progressively, song prayers accompanying all the way, to healing from that. And once I wasn't hating myself anymore, then He could unlock and show me the emotional abuse I'd been in since early childhood. And so I've written a book called Learning to Love, Not Loathe Me, which tells that story with the overlap with the song prayers and the emotional healing and the new emotional awareness. And one of the things I'm passionate about is encouraging others that they do not have to think negatively about themselves, that they are thinking negatively about themselves, to really take hold and look at those thoughts. Maybe ask God to help heal them too. Engage a therapist. I have an amazing therapist who's helping me grow. But I want them to know that the thoughts that they have, I thought those were the only reality, and that they are
Really?
not, and that they can come to a place where they see themselves differently and thrive. And I joined the pageant. I felt like God was nudging me in that direction as part of my transformation journey from self-hatred to being coming into that healthy balance of love God, love self, love others.
That's a beautiful and inspirational story. And I believe that other women and girls watching this will really take that to heart and understand that they too have hope. They too can overcome very difficult things in life, such as emotional abuse and self-loathing, negative thought patterns, and that can all be brought into a peace state, in a state in which you can use, or your traumas can be used uh, to help you grow so that you can be used as an instrument to heal others.
100%. Actually, what we're doing in the studio this week is I've invited a very close friend who is a certified trauma recovery coach, and we are taping episodes of a new podcast called No more excuses, learning to love like Jesus, where the focus is on trauma, recovery, God, and growth. So exactly what you're talking about. Yes, everything you go through that's tough can be something that a building block when you wrestle with it and it's painful and you come through it towards amazing recovery and resilience and thriving.
Yes. So thank you so much for talking to our audience here at World Peace Channel 1 and for your wonderful work with veterans and others with these song prayers and for your own personal journey and sharing that with us. We're really grateful to you.
Thank you so much for having me.